you're a vote blue no matter who person, look away, my lovely. This will trigger you. It will hurt you. Joe Biden's Autopen controversy. All right. An Autopen. An Autopen. The pen is more deadlier than the sword, eh? So let's talk about it. All right. Apparently, Donald Trump has called into question about Biden's pardon. So anyone that got a pardon from good old Joe 30330 might be in a little bit of an oopsie. And they might be in some trouble because they might be null and void. Now, we know that Biden was clearly suffering from mental health issues, okay? Biden clearly was suffering from some form of dementia or Alzheimer's. He wasn't all there. And this is something that Harlan's media called out in 2020 during the 2020 election cycle. Me and Daniel were proven correct. Everyone in independent media was proven correct. INN, Jimmy Dore, RBN, all of us, even those on the right too, because everybody saw it. And as somebody who has had family members suffer from dementia, Alzheimer's, or losing their ability to be cognitive, you recognize the signs. And you, my audience, that's right, I'm bringing in you. Fun for the whole family. Have seen it firsthand for yourselves, because I've seen your stories, especially commenting on our live stream show when we talk about it. But we need to address the bigger picture, and that is, are these pardons now, if it was done by Autopen, are they legit? And that means a lot of people could be in a little bit of a trouble. I want to pull up this video here. This was a conversation that was brought up. Do you bloody well condemn ad hominem? And we're going to make that a thing. No longer hummus. Do you condemn ad hominem? From Piers Morgan Show, comedian Dave Smith calls it out.
I have no legal expertise in the question of whether these auto signatures are legitimate or are not legitimate, and it's kind of an interesting legal question, I guess. But I think you hit the nail on the head in your opening there, Pierce. It's like none of this would ever, there's no way you could make this claim short of the fact that we all know the former sitting president was so senile. And this is, I mean, these are the type of conversations, every single political commentator, including the four of us here and everyone these are the type of conversations we were having privately throughout this whole, the whole.
We said it publicly, and it got us censored a few times, as did a couple of others, as did all of you. I mean, if you were to bring it up, you were a bad person. I remember it. Bravery is the watchword.
Last year, at least, of the Biden administration. I mean, when you're at this level of mental decline, how much can everybody around you just abuse that? I mean, Joe Biden actually seemed at a state, at least toward the end of his administration, where a staffer could probably just tell him, oh, no, you already said that yesterday. And he'd kind of have to go, yeah, I guess I did. And then I guess the bigger question than that, which I think really does rise above a legal question, is just how outrageous it is that the outgoing president would pardon Fauci. I mean, all of us know that in this whole debacle, which, by the way, this doesn't have to be a partisan issue because Donald Trump is very implicated in this too. He was the president of the United States of America through all of 2020. He's the one who kept Fauci on the job through the year of lockdowns. But the fact that Fauci was covering up the fact that that his own or subsidiaries of his own agency had funded the lab where the whole thing came from. And then they covered that up and they accused everybody of being a horrible racists or conspiracy theorists if they brought up the theory of where this virus originated from. And then to impose lockdowns and mandates and just lie to the American people.
And don't forget, this was happening under Trump and then in turn under Biden. Same Joe Biden that made a lot of promises too. We're still owed that stimulus check, that stimmy. Who got their $2,000? Who's waiting? I want mine with interest, but I'm only speaking for myself. That's my opinion.
Whole way through. It's one of the gravest crimes that was ever committed by the U.S. government against the American people. And the idea that a president would give out blanket immunity for those crimes is so appalling that essentially I'm saying any way that we could undo these pardons, I support it. But it does bring up a fascinating question and one that we talked about on a previous episode of this.
In my opinion, just from my perspective, I don't think these pardons can be undone. Is there a process? Yes. Is there evidence that Joe Biden wasn't there mentally? Yes, because it's been admitted now, especially in the press. I know we have to go back. I call it the blurring effect. It's because of our smartphones and computers. We forget things. I think it's all being done to make us dumber, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later on in the show. But the problem with the system as it is that there's always legal loopholes, but it does cause some concern because all these pardons and all these executive orders that Biden did under his 4 years, yes, there are videos of him writing with his pen, but what about behind closed doors? What about when the cameras aren't on and the media isn't there? There are things that must be called into question, and how much that Autopen was being used.
The show, Pierce. Yeah. There's questions about the Joe Biden resignation letter itself. It was such a bizarre way for a sitting president to announce a couple weeks before the convention that he wouldn't be seeking re-election. He did it through like a letter, not an address to the American people. And then he threw his endorsement to Kamala Harris through a tweet. This is just so bizarre. It's like out of a crazy fiction novel or something. But I'm excited that people are looking into this.
And I think it's important that we do talk about it because even Trump, and while the audio is terrible, there are the subtitles here, so I'll be playing it. But Trump's calling it out.
So to follow up on the Biden Autopen, are those executive orders, those pardons from the former president now null and void?
Well, I think so. It's not my decision. That'll be up to a court. But I would say that they're null and void because I'm sure Biden didn't have any idea that it was taking place. And somebody was using an Autopen to sign off and to give pardons to, as an example, it's just one example, but the J6 Unselect Committee. They gave pardons with an Autopen. I don't think Biden knew anything about it. And what they did is they deleted and destroyed all of the information that took them over a year to get. And the reason they did that is because the information was very incriminating about them. Like Nancy Pelosi, it was determined conclusively that she knew about 10,000 soldiers and turned it down. And if we used 500 soldiers, you would have had no problem, let alone 10,000. The young lady that said that I grabbed these powerful young Secret Service agents by the neck. Okay? You know that was a big hoax. It was a lie.
I would pay good money if that was true and there was camera of that. That would be great.
And she admitted it. And they deleted everything. So, you know, what they did is criminal. I think we're about to land, everybody.
But speaking of pardons and signatures, this is important here. Why am I bringing up Trump and Hunter Biden? Because didn't Biden pardon his own son? U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered the Secret Service to stop protecting Hunter Biden, the son of his predecessor. Former presidents and spouses receive lifelong Secret Service protection under federal law, but the privilege is not automatically extended to their adult children. Trump has long accused Joe Biden of shielding his son from prosecution for various crimes. Various crimes. I'm going to say that again because during the election cycle, Biden pardoned his son, much to the cringe of many Democrats and Kamala the Cop Harris. In a post on Truth Social on Monday, Trump argued that it was ridiculous that at least 18 agents were tasked with protecting the younger Biden and 13 more were protecting the ex-president's daughter, Ashley Biden. He is currently vacationing in, of all places, South Africa. That's where Joe Biden's at, okay? Where the human rights of people, what do you mean people, has been strenuously questioned. There's a big crisis there in South Africa. Please be advised that effective immediately, Hunter Biden will no longer receive Secret Service protection. Likewise, Ashley Biden, who has 13 agents, will be taken off the list. Gotta love this back and forth between these two parties. Continuing on, in 2004, Hunter Biden was convicted of tax offenses and of concealing his drug addiction when he filled out paperwork to purchase a revolver. Trump and Republicans also accused Hunter Biden of influence peddling and corruption on behalf of his father. In December, Joe Biden issued a sweeping pardon of Hunter Biden, despite earlier promises not to interfere in his son's legal problems. He claimed that the prosecution was politically motivated and that Hunter was singled out only because he is my son. The pardon was condemned by Republicans and some Democrats, and Trump has labeled it as an abuse and miscarriage of justice. So I could see why maybe, just maybe, was a cherry on top. Why, oh, why Trump might want to remove or question all of Joe Biden's pardons.
We're talking about issuing preemptive pardons to these people.
But was he aware of his signature being used on every single pardon? That's a question you should ask the Biden White House.
Is there any evidence on that he wasn't aware of it?
You're a reporter. You should find out,
Okay,
Sean.
Oh, that's a kick in the gut right there. Telling her, hey, you're a reporter. Find out. Shout out to Wendy Carballo. All right. She is the conscience of this channel and a wonderful moderator. I have no problem with stopping Secret Service protection for the Bidens. Oh, this is going to be in the clip, okay? Because if Wendy Carballo is giving the thumbs down, then we all must give the thumb downs for Secret Service protection. And one more time.
You should ask the Biden
Is
White
there
House.
any evidence?
Signature being used on every single pardon? That's a question you should ask the Biden
Is
White
there
House.
any evidence on that he wasn't aware of it?
You're a reporter. You should find out,
Okay,
Sean.
Ugh. And yes, folks, even I must be corrected because that's an oof. 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 That's funny to me. It is funny to me. But I want to pull the rest of this article up here. Trump says Biden's Autopen pardons are void, vacant, and of no further force or effect. Vows a probe the January 6th House Select Committee. No pun intended. And this was from his Truth Social. The pardons that Sleepy Joe Biden gave to the Unselect Committee of political thugs and many others are hereby declared, all caps, void, vacant, and of no further force or effect because of the fact that they were done by Autopen. In other words, Joe Biden did not sign them. More importantly, he did not know anything about them! Exclamation point at the end. The necessary pardoning documents were not explained to or approved by Biden. He knew nothing about them, and the people that did may have committed a crime. Therefore, those on the Unselect Committee who destroyed and deleted all evidence obtained during their 2-year witch hunt of me and many other innocent people should fully understand that they are subject to investigation at the highest level. The fact is, they were probably responsible for the documents that were signed on their behalf without the knowledge or consent of the worst president in the history of our country, crooked Joe Biden. So that means there's going to be legal action possibly being taken place, and I'm not surprised by it. It's revenge is a simple word, and I can understand the revenge. After going through 4 years of legal lawfare that was put upon him where he had to be on the defense, lawyer fees and everything else, I can understand where Trump is coming from. Is this a distraction? Absolutely. Treat it as it is. It's a distraction. Oh, ignore the fact that the CR got approved. Ignore the fact that trillions of dollars of debt is going to be put on the American people. Ignore the fact that there's a war still going on in Gaza. So much for that fantastic, unbeatable ceasefire. But also, I want to bring it back to the Democrats. Because, yes, oh, don't worry. All of this is on Trump's table. Whether or not we live in better times is the big question in the air, okay? But I want to return it back to the also fantastic vote blue, no matter who, latte drinking liberals. Are you dumb, stupid, or dumb? I mean, you guys went to bat for Joe Biden in the 2020 election cycle, and we at Hardlands Media, we gave you that warning. We told you very carefully that if Joe Biden doesn't follow through with any promises or help out progressives and independents or actually bring in real change, that things were going to come after. Things were going to fall apart. We did point out that Joe Biden didn't look like he was mentally there, that he was suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's. And all what we did promise is that once it comes crashing down, we're going to laugh at you. You went to bat for a guy that didn't know his arse from a hole in the ground. And now the great Autopen controversy, because if there is a legal opening for Trump to go after everybody that Trump has pardoned, well, so much for that shield wall, it broke. So much for that protection, because it's gone. I would feel sorry for you, but this is the game of politics. And I remember how fast so many people in the Vote Blue, no matter whose sphere, were calling for censorship and suppression of all those calling out Biden's mental capacity. So, if you want me to cry for you, it ain't going to happen. There will be tears of laughter, because the Autopen controversy is just the beginning.